The world is submerged in a murky gray. Not the gray of ash, but the gray of thick fog, the salt mist characteristic of Tsushima's seas in late autumn. It swallows the mountains, turning the island into a dreamscape, completely isolated from the rest of the human realm. In that stillness, the only sound is the rhythmic, slow grinding of iron. Inside the dojo, Lord So Sukakuni sits cross-legged. At 80, his body is withered like an old pine, but his eyes, the eyes of an old tiger, still burn bright, reflecting the cold steel of the tachi in his hands.
Father, the sea has been rough.
Sukasada speaks, breaking the sacred silence.
We need to prepare.
Fishermen say they hear strange sounds from the west. Not thunder, not waves.
Steel does not lie.
Sukakuni continues to stroke the cloth. What do you see in this blade? I see your reflection, Father.
Wrong.
Sukakuni says, his voice deep and raspy.
I see your fear.
I do not fear battle. I fear the unknown. Rumors of the Mongol fleet. They say they are as numerous as ants. The sharp click of the sword sheathing sounds like a verdict. 1,000 ants, or 10,000 ants? They are still ants. But I, Sukakuni stands.
I am rock. The rock remains.
I am rock. Waves may beat against rock for 1,000 years. The old lord speaks of rock, but he does not know the storm that is coming. While Tsushima slept in its fog, a shadow had already swallowed the mainland. The Song dynasty had fallen. The Korean kingdom of Goryeo had knelt in blood. From the frozen steppes to the banks of the Danube, the Golden Horde had trampled nations into dust. For 50 years, the world had learned one terrifying truth. Resistance is extinction.
And now, the beast has turned its gaze east.
Toward the Golden Islands where steel is worshipped as a god. At the Komoda coastal watchtower, Sentry Saito rubs eyes red from lack of sleep. Nothing but seagulls and wind, he mutters. Suddenly, a sound resonates. It sounds like the heartbeat of a giant monster swimming beneath the sea. Or drums. Hundreds of drums. The wind shifts, as if a giant invisible hand pulls back a curtain. The fog begins to lift. Before him lies not the sea has vanished. In its place is a forest of black wood, thousands of ships. They stretch from the horizon to the shore, packed tight like a school of starving sharks. Massive ships with blood-red sails bearing monstrous insignias. Saito screams with every ounce of breath left. Enemy! Attack! Enemy! Attack! The alarm bell echoes. 80 elite samurai of Tsushima gather. Only 80 men. Lord So Sukakuni steps out, donning the Oyuroi armor and the fierce demon mask. In that moment, the old man vanishes. Only a war god remains. He raises his sword high.
Sons of Tsushima, this earth is the bone of our fathers.
This sea is the blood of our mothers.
Today, we will teach these barbarians the price of a single inch of our land. Banzai!
80 screams merge into one. The invasion has begun. Komoda Beach is a narrow crescent of white sand, sandwiched between black cliffs and the roaring ocean. Normally, this is where children collect shells. Today, it is a sacrificial altar. 80 horsemen line up abreast. A thin black line drawn across the white sand. In front of them is not the sea. It is a floating wooden wall. The Mongol fleet looms like drifting mountains, blocking out the horizon. The disparity is laughable. 80 men against an ocean. Hold formation! Lord Sukakuni's shout cuts through the wind. Do not let fear dull your blades. But the enemy remains motionless. Thousands of ships stand still. Tens of thousands of eyes look down on 80 tiny humans. A heavy silence descends, heavier than stone. What are they waiting for? Sukasada, Lord Sukakuni commands. Greet our guests. Let them know whose land they are stepping on. Sukasada nods. He spurs his horse forward, wading into the white foam. He draws a special arrow, a kabura-ya, the whistling arrow. This is the sacred ritual of Bushido, an honorable invitation to duel. He draws his massive bow. Thwip! The arrow tears through the wind. A piercing shriek rings out, soaring high before plunging into the wet sand, just yards from the lead enemy ship. Sukasada lowers his bow, waiting. By the laws of war, an enemy general should step forward, announce his name, and the duel would begin. That is how war has been fought for centuries. Beautiful, orderly. But his answer is only silence. No one steps out. No names are called. From the high decks, wild, mocking laughter erupts. They point at Sukasada as if he were a performing monkey. To the Mongol Empire, war is not a ritual. War is extermination. There is no honor, only victory. Sukasada is stunned. The enemy's laughter hurts more than a knife cut. And then the laughter stops. The black ships, a dark cloud rises. It is not rain.
The storm comes!
It is thousands of arrows.